Okay, so you're here to kind of get ahead of the curve, right? Figure out what's important without all that noise and clutter. You want to be ready when opportunity knocks. So let's get right to it. We're talking about George Knopf today and his take on franchising.
Right on.
And he thinks this is maybe the biggest opportunity in a decade to build something big through franchises. I mean, think about it. Interest rates going up and down, inflation still around, companies letting people go left and right. Kind of a crazy time.
Yeah, no
But
kid.
Knopf says this whole upheaval is actually creating a huge opening, like a window for anyone ready to jump in and take charge.
Yeah, a lot of change going on definitely opens up opportunities.
Yeah. So today we're going to dig into Knopf's ideas and really understand why this moment could be perfect for, taking control through franchising.
Totally. When you look at these big economic shakeups, you can really see how they expose those cracks in the system. And then all these new paths open up. Knopf's saying all this turbulence. It's not just a bad thing. It means the old ways of doing things are breaking down. And that leaves room for new ways to come in.
It's like that saying, never let a good crisis go to waste, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So that franchise model he talks about?
Yeah.
That's really well suited to thrive in this kind of environment.
Yeah.
It's flexible and adaptable.
Makes sense. So Knopf talks about this grow time mentality instead of just hunkering down and waiting for the storm to pass.
Right.
And he says the people who are awake, aware, and hungry, they can really use this to their advantage.
Right.
So what does that actually look like in the real world? What kind of person are we talking about here?
Well, it's kind of like this. Got to have your eyes open to what's happening. Those who are awake are seeing the news, they're sensing the changes in the job market and just feeling that shift in the whole economy.
Right. They're paying attention.
Exactly. Then you have those who are aware. They're the ones connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Realizing that the traditional career path maybe doesn't offer as much security as it used to.
Like that whole idea of a job for life that's kind of
Yeah,
gone.
that's fading fast.
Yeah.
And they're seeing that just relying on a paycheck maybe isn't the best way to be truly independent.
You need more than just a job.
Right. And then you have those who are hungry.
Okay.
They're the ones with that inner drive. They're not happy with the status quo, and they have this genuine burning desire to make their own way.
I like that. They're hungry for something more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Knopf really nails it when he talks about that desire to stop building someone else's dream.
Right.
You want to start building your own.
Absolutely. That's a powerful idea. And he uses this really striking image of renting your life when you're working for someone else.
Mm.
Like you're always contributing to their equity.
Mm.
How does becoming a franchise owner actually change that whole dynamic?
That renting your life thing is tough to hear, but it's so true. Like when you're an employee, all your hard work, all your dedication ends up building someone else's asset.
Right. You're making their dreams come true?
Exactly. But franchise ownership flips that script. It's your chance to build something for yourself, something tangible.
You're building your own equity.
Exactly. Knopf calls it a real asset with real cash flow, real support, and real scalability. And the best part is you're not starting from scratch. You get to leverage a proven system that takes away a lot of the initial hurdles, and you can really hit the ground running.
That's a big advantage.
Huge. It's the difference between paying into someone else's future and investing in your own.
So let's get into the specifics of why now is such a great time to get into franchising. Knopf outlines several big changes happening in the market.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's start with corporate layoffs. How does that whole wave of job losses actually translate into opportunities in the franchising world?
Well, think about it. All those people getting laid off, that's a lot of talented, driven people who are suddenly looking for new options. Many of them have great skills and experience and severance packages to help them get started. They've seen firsthand how unstable the corporate world can be, and they want more control over their future.
Yeah, they don't want to be at the mercy of some CEO's decisions.
Exactly. So franchising gives them a structured way to become entrepreneurs. They can use their skills within a proven system, but they're calling the shots.
Right, so they're not starting from zero, they have a roadmap.
Exactly.
Makes sense. And what about all those baby boomers selling their businesses? That seems like a different kind of opportunity altogether.
It's definitely a separate factor, but it's just as important. We have this huge generational shift happening right now with baby boomers retiring.
Right.
Lots of them own established businesses that could be really profitable, but they don't have a plan for who takes over. So that opens doors for franchise systems to expand. Maybe they buy those existing businesses outright, or someone converts them into a franchise location, and boom, you have an instant customer base.
And it's less risky than starting from scratch.
Way less risky.
Interesting. Knopf also mentions the possibility of the Fed cutting interest rates in the future. How could that affect the franchising scene?
Well, lower interest rates mean it's cheaper to borrow money, right?
Right.
So if you're a franchise owner and you want to expand, it's easier to get a loan to open new locations. And if you're thinking about buying into a franchise, lower rates mean you can get the financing you need more easily.
So it makes it easier to take that leap.
Exactly. Easier access to capital is good for business in general, and that includes franchising.
Gotcha. And last but not least, he talks about how people are being smarter with their money and how that benefits those recognizable franchise brands.
Yeah. In tough economic times, people are naturally more careful about where they spend their money. They stick with brands they know and trust. They want predictability and reliability.
Right. You don't want to take a gamble on some new unknown company when money's tight.
Exactly. And that's where franchises really shine. They have that built-in brand recognition and customer loyalty. When people are being more selective, they're more likely to go with a name they already know rather than risk it on a brand new independent business.
Familiarity breeds comfort.
Right. And Knopf points out that even smart investors and private equity firms are seeing this trend. They're pouring more money into franchises because they recognize the strength of that model, especially right now.
So basically you're saying you don't need to come up with some revolutionary idea to be successful. You can tap into a system that's already working.
Exactly. So many people get stuck thinking they need to invent the next big thing before they can start a business.
Right.
Franchising takes that pressure off. You're not betting on some untested concept. You're joining a business that's already proven it can make money. It's like Knopf says the smart move is to find a better wheel and scale it fast. Franchises give you that better wheel. They have the brand, the systems, the training, everything's ready to go. You can just focus on executing and growing within that structure.
So you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just making it better.
Exactly. And it's faster.
So speaking of navigating this world of franchising, Knopf talks about George Nelf and MyPerfectFranchise.com as this essential resource, like a Sherpa guiding you through the mountains. So what exactly do they do to help someone through this process?
Think about how many different franchise opportunities are out there. It's overwhelming, right?
You wouldn't even know where to start.
Exactly. And that's where George Knauf and his team come in. They're like experienced guides. They help you make sense of it all, but they're not trying to sell you any particular franchise. They take the time to understand what you want, what you're good at, how much money you have, and what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. Their goal is to help you find the right franchise for you.
So it's all about finding the best fit.
Totally. It's not just about pushing any franchise on you. They want to make sure it aligns with your personal and professional goals. Knopf says you don't need to know everything. You just need the right guide and the right map. And that's exactly what they provide.
Like having a mentor in your corner.
Exactly.
And Knopf also makes a point of saying you don't have to be a business whiz to make it as a franchisee. What are the key things that he believes are needed to take that plunge?
He boils it down to two things, really. Mindset and determination.
Okay.
You don't need an MBA or years of corporate experience. You just need that drive, that passion to pursue your vision and the commitment to put in the work. You know, he shares the stories about people who made that leap and succeeded, like the tech worker who now owns a bunch of fitness franchises, or the military vet who built a huge logistics business.
It's inspiring to hear those stories.
Totally. And there's that one about the part-time worker who turned a home services franchise into a big success.
Yeah, people from all walks of life.
Exactly. These are just normal folks who decided to take control and build something for themselves.
That's a powerful message. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, those fears and doubts that everyone has.
Sure.
The fear of losing money, the worry about failing. How does Knopf address those concerns?
He tackles those fears head on by flipping the script. He asks, what if 5 years go by and nothing changes? What if you're still stuck in the same place? He says that's the real risk, the real failure. Staying unhappy and not chasing your dreams.
That's a good way to look at it.
Right. He emphasizes that you can learn the skills you need to run a franchise, and the franchise system itself provides so much support. The biggest hurdle is overcoming that initial hesitation and just taking that first step.
That's often the hardest part, right?
Definitely.
So it all comes back to raising your standards and deciding what you're willing to put up with. Knopf connects the quality of your life directly to the expectations you set for yourself.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing your worth and your potential.
Yeah, knowing what you deserve.
Exactly. If you're tired of working for someone else and you want to build real lasting wealth, you need to demand more from your life. And Knopf believes franchising offers a concrete path to do just that.
It gives you the tools and the support to bet on yourself.
Exactly. But he also says that inner motivation, that fire inside you, is what will ultimately drive your success. The franchise provides the framework, but you're the engine.
I like that analogy. You provide the fuel. So Nuff wraps up by emphasizing the importance of building something resilient, something that can withstand any economic storm. What's the main message he leaves us with?
He stresses the importance of what he calls the inner game. Building up your discipline, your resilience, your core values. Those are the qualities that underpin true success, especially when things get tough. Franchising can be the vehicle to achieve your goals, but it's your inner strength and determination that will ultimately see you through. He believes that if you're looking for more freedom and the opportunity for real growth, franchising can be the key to unlocking the life you deserve.
It's a pretty inspiring message. So for anyone listening who's feeling that pull, that desire to take control and build something of their own, what's the next step they should take according to Nuff?
He's very clear about that. He wants you to visit myperfectfranchise.com.
Okay.
There, you can schedule a free no-pressure call with George Knopf himself. It's a chance to have a real conversation, explore franchise models that might be a good fit for you, and get all your questions answered. It's about taking that first step towards a different future.
So if you're ready to stop renting your life and start owning it, head over to myperfectfranchise.com and book a call with George Knopf. Like George Knopf says, you were born for more. Now's the time to claim it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
You got it.